Hello, Solar here. Now, if you've been on YouTube for a while, you've probably seen videos with the titles along the lines of, "Would these characters survive this character?" Where different characters are placed in a tier list. These videos often include characters such as Anton Chigurh, Dexter Morgan, Judge Holden, and John Wick. But one other character often mentioned is Agent 47 from the Hitman game series. And well, I want to make a video dedicated to him specifically. The characters he will be up against will range from CEOs, crime lords, serial killers, and even other hitmen. And each character may have a different scenario associated with them. The tiers on this list are: would win, which means Agent 47 would most likely fail his mission or die. Skin of his teeth. These characters would either tie with 47 or have just as good a chance of killing him as he does of killing them. A challenging target. A target that will cause 47 to put a lot more effort than most targets he deals with, whether they may be more physical threat, or he has to use more extreme methods to dispatch them. They are a real challenge. Minor difficulties. Pretty easy, but have a few elements that add an extra layer of difficulty to the overall contract. Think of it as a wrench thrown into the mix, but nothing too difficult for him. Just another contract. The characters on this tier would be taken out pretty easily, all things considered. With that in mind, let's break down Agent 47. The silent assassin, Agent 47, also known by the alias Tobias Reaper, is a jack of all trades when it comes to his work. He's a skilled fighter, a skilled marksman, and above all else, a master of disguise and stealth. He has decades of experience in the art of assassination. He can use just about any weapon, or even any object as a weapon. He can use random objects such as rocks, snowballs, cans of soda, bricks, and so on and so forth. He can throw these so hard they shatter against people's heads, but he can do so without actually killing them, which is incredibly skillful in its own right. He uses different trick weapons such as sedatives, a camera that he can use to hack technology, explosives, and explosives that are disguised as other objects, such as rubber ducks, golf balls, and more. He also has different briefcases, one he can throw normally, and one that is specifically made to change trajectory and hit its target. And yes, that is an official feature, although its canonicity is in question. As the tagline for the new trilogy says, "The world is your weapon," which is incredibly accurate for 47. He is very adaptable and uses his environment to his advantage, distracting enemies with items such as coins, using random objects as weapons, and killing his targets with various set pieces. Along with these, he uses garrote wire, an assortment of knives, daggers, and so much more. Along with these, he almost always brings a few guns. He is a master of all firearms, assault rifles, sniper rifles, pistols, shotguns, you name it. But his most iconic weapons are his dual silver ballers, complete with silencers, and of course these are video game silencers, meaning they suppress all sound. He can fight hand to hand and take out skilled mercenaries with ease. He has even been able to kill a skilled MMA fighter in hand-to-hand combat, as well as being able to take on a massive bodyguard and fighter with his bare hands. Above all his actual combat skills, his greatest tool is stealth. He can blend in with groups easily. He can find easy places to hide, and can quickly disguise himself in other people's uniforms to infiltrate people's circles. But it's far more than putting on a costume. He puts on an act. Although he makes very unsubtle remarks that obviously hint at him being a hitman, his skill of acting as a character is uncanny. When he dresses like a barber, he doesn't just pretend to be one. He has the actual skills to cut people's hair. When he's a chef, he cooks well. When he's a drummer, his drumming skill impresses actual musicians. He practices countless skills and hobbies to make sure he can always fit the criteria of whatever he pretends to be. This even includes forensics. Although he usually gets help from groups like the ICA or his freelance recon team, which should technically be part of his arsenal, 47 has impeccable forensic skills. He can determine the identities of assassins sent to kill him in plain sight of them, as well as being able to solve an entire murder mystery within the span of an hour, whilst disguised as a detective, although he does have minor help from Diana. Along with these skills, one of his most impressive abilities is his ability to track his target at all times, knowing where they are and what they're doing. The same goes for targets he is meant to protect. He can also tell when he is being watched or when cameras see him. Because of this ability, known as Instinct, he can see through walls essentially. It's basically impossible to get the jump on him. And because he's aware when he leaves behind evidence, he can easily destroy the evidence too. When it comes to feats, as mentioned before, he was able to easily kill an MMA fighter in hand-to-hand. He has resistance to various toxins. He effortlessly killed a gigantic man who was injected with what is essentially a super soldier serum. 47 has also been able to kill the Saints, a group of highly skilled assassins armed to the teeth with bazookas, gats, and grenades. He was able to infiltrate a militia compound, and if you played that contract like I did, he could wipe out an entire militia compound, as well as either being able to sneak through or kill an entire train filled with armed mercenaries. He has also been able to straight up dodge almost point blank shots after they've been fired, as well as being able to kill multiple armed guards within the blink of an eye. He once found out about another hitman who has the same target as him, but wasn't able to get a clean shot on him, so he secretly adjusted the sniper rifle he was using and then pretended to be a painter for his target, and began painting him, whilst getting him the right position to be shot by the other assassin. But beyond that, what is probably his most impressive feat happens in the first game. Agent 47 may look mostly normal, but he's actually a clone. He has the DNA of 5 separate men, including terrorists and mob bosses. This was done in order to create a superhuman assassin, but one of the men whose DNA is used is Otto Wolfgang Ortmeyer, who is 47's creator. Ortmeyer created more than one assassin, as he created multiple clones such as the 48s, who are supposed to be genetically superior to 47 as well as better assassins overall. But Agent 47 proved to be superior when he was able to kill all of them in combat. Imagine taking out one person who's supposed to be better than you in every way. Now imagine killing a few dozen. With all of this in mind, we must now figure out how these characters would fare against 47. Keep in mind, each character may have a different scenario associated with him. So let's begin with Anton Chigurh. I'd like to start off with one of the most well-known assassins in fiction, Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men. He is a popular character to use for these kinds of videos. He is a cold, stoic assassin who is treated narratively like a force of nature, unyielding and uncaring. He is very strong, able to easily overpower anyone he kills, and uses some quite unique weapons such as a suppressed Remington shotgun and a bolt pistol that he uses for up-close kills. He often gets a jump on his victims and places them in very uncomfortable positions. He is also known for his twisted sense of morale, as he plays a game where he flips a coin to decide the fate of his target. He is cold, meticulous, and dangerous. But in all honesty, this isn't something 47 hasn't dealt with before. Everything that can be said about Anton can be said about 47. He is everything Anton is, but greater. He has more experience, he's more skilled in combat, and he's more stealthy. He has a greater arsenal, and he is just as, if not more, unrelenting than Chigurh is. And Anton can't get the jump over 47. Anton goes to just another contract. James Bond. Agent 007, one of the world's greatest spies. For this video, we will be sticking with the Daniel Craig version of the character for consistency, as the James Bond timeline fluctuates quite a bit. In terms of his arsenal, Bond uses a wide array of guns, face scanners that can help him find people sneaking around, and an explosive watch. He is an overall excellent shot, and is an extremely skilled hand-to-hand fighter. Along with that, he is exceedingly skilled in espionage. So how would this fight go? If they were trying to find each other, 47 would suss him out pretty quickly due to his instinct, and with help from Bond's face scanner, he gets suss out 47. So espionage, what these two succeed in the most, is out of the question. Now it becomes a fight. And in a fight, 47 has this easily. Bond may have an explosive watch, but 47 has all manner of explosives. 47 is also an overall more skilled marksman and hand-to-hand fighter. To add on to that, 47 has overall superior stats. I thought this would be pretty close, skin of the teeth, but Bond kind of gets washed here. I'd say minor difficulties due to him being able to counter 47's stealth. If I make a sequel to this video, I might include all versions of Bond, to make things a little more fair, since I thought this wouldn't be a wash. Next up is Art the Clown. Art the Clown from the controversial Terrifier slasher film series might be the most unique matchup. Art may not seem like much, but he is truly something special. Art is known for his quiet demeanor, never speaking in any of his films. Despite this, he always enjoys having a good laugh, whether he's messing with people or making a mess of people. You can expect a wide grin and a silent laugh from him. But what does he actually have that will help him against 47? Well, to start off, he carries around a trash bag with a variety of weapons and instruments of torture. Knives, axes, chainsaws, bottles of acid, and much, much more. Some of the deadlier pieces of his arsenal include a handgun and a shotgun, which he often uses to surprise his victims. He has a weird makeshift freezing gun that can cause flesh to become frozen and shatter when impacted with something like a hammer. He has even made explosives with large radiuses to them, so not only is he dangerous and sneaky, but crafty and intelligent. But beyond his weapons, he is very strong for his size, lifting grown men off the ground, overpowering them, and ripping them apart with his bare hands. Now, for the most unique aspect of him, he is immortal. Now, you could probably say the same for other slashers like Michael Myers or Leatherface, since they actually survive insane things all the time. But Art is a straight-up immortal. At the end of his first film, he actually shoots himself, which does kill him, but he is shown attacking the coroner at the end of his movie. This is because the Pale Girl, a demon who uses recently deceased madmen to exist in our world. So, by reviving him, she was able to get her own body. So, as mentioned, he survived getting shot. He survived getting nails in his head, getting impaled, and even straight up decapitated. And his body was able to kill a man on its own and retrieve a new head that was given birth to. And yes, someone gave birth to his head after it got cut off. The only thing that could seemingly kill him is holy magic, as the main character, Sienna, is implied to be somewhat holy, or at least given protection from angels. She uses a holy sword to decapitate him in the second movie, but he survives. But when Victoria Hayes is slain, who was the body for the Pale Girl, he may be mortal. So this is a hard one, because even though Art is almost like the serial killer version of Agent 47, as they are both stealthy and resourceful killers, 47 has him beat in just about every category, and will most likely counter most of his unique abilities, except the immortality. 47 has no way to permanently kill Art, that we know of at least. There's a chance 47 could dispatch Art and vacate the premise before Art revives, or maybe as he is leaving, realizes that Art is still alive. There are ways he may potentially be able to kill Art, using explosives, or maybe he could gather the parts and dispose of them. But those are big maybes, that may not actually work at all. But realistically, Art has nothing that he could actually use against 47. 47 is far stronger, faster, and more skilled. Art couldn't get the jump on him at all. And 47 could probably find any bomb or trap Art may lay before it takes effect. So in reality, this is a fight between someone who is much, much better than their opponent in every way, but potentially has no way of killing him. So for the time being, I will have to place him in a challenging target, since the only real problem is putting Art to a permanent end, but it's not off the table. Bullet Train. This is a special challenge for 47. Instead of having a specific target, it's a location. A bullet train in Tokyo. On this train, multiple assassins have boarded with various tasks. The assassins are known as Ladybug, Lemon and Tangerine, Yuichi, aka the Father, the Hornet, the Wolf, and the Prince. Ladybug, the main character of the movie Bullet Train, is very skilled, but is known for his luck. He believes he is unlucky, but in reality he is quite the opposite. He was tasked with stealing a briefcase. The Wolf is a man with a vendetta who wants to kill Ladybug. Lemon and Tangerine are two friends who work with each other, and are sent to capture a man who is the son of the powerful mob boss, known as White Death, and the briefcase. Yuichi is out to find the one responsible for his son's coma. The Hornet is an assassin sent to kill the man being captured by Lemon and Tangerine. She uses disguises, such as a mascot costume, and she uses a lethal venom. And finally, the Prince, who has a plan to eliminate the White Death. These assassins are all dangerous in their own right. They do the sort of typical action movie stuff that you'd expect. It's hard to determine what 47's purpose would be in this scenario, but for the sake of it, let's go through a few. If he was sent to take the briefcase, he would find it quickly and most likely escape without a hitch. If he was sent to also capture the son, either he would be aligned with Lemon and Tangerine or would be tasked with taking him from them. Either way, almost no one on the train poses a real threat to 47. As mentioned before, 47 has been in a similar situation, where he was on a train filled with armed mercenaries. Big difference is, that train was filled with far, far more armed mercenaries who were fully aware of his presence. If he encounters the Wolf, either the Wolf wouldn't care, or he would defeat him with ease, as the Wolf was kind of a jobber. If he encounters Lemon and Tangerine, though they are some of the most dangerous on the train, he'd be able to beat them quite easily. If he encounters the Hornet, he'd probably knock her out before he knows she's an assassin, just to use her costume. In actual fight, she most likely wouldn't be able to beat him, and if she managed to inject him with the venom, he'd most likely kill her and easily find the anti-venom. The Prince shouldn't be a challenge for him, although depending on his goal, she might throw a wrench into it. Yuichi also shouldn't be a problem. In fact, I could see 47 being tasked with helping him. Finally, Ladybug might be the biggest problem due to his luck. He often survives events that should have killed him, and often turns things back around onto his opponents. But 47 often causes things to blow up in his opponents' faces. I'd say this challenge belongs in minor difficulties. Next up is Deadshot. There are plenty of DC characters that would make sense to put up against 47, such as the Caped Crusader, Batman, or the Dark Herald of Justice, Nemesis. But I think that this may be one of the better matchups to use for this video. Floyd Lawton, the racially ambiguous assassin known as Deadshot, is considered to be one of the greatest assassins in the DC universe, often seen as a member of the Suicide Squad. He's cocky and more than anything loves making money. He is without a doubt the greatest marksman in his universe, showing impeccable aim and precision. He usually carries a great manner of gear, bulletproof armor, guns, gauntlets that act like guns, good health insurance, and specialty bullets such as explosive bullets. The scope on his helmet is a special piece of technology that analyzes his opponent's equipment to help him determine their weakness. Some of his greatest feats include obvious things, taking out many enemies at once, dodging bullets, fighting against metahumans, and being able to go toe-to-toe with some of the greatest fighters in his universe, such as Batman. With precise shots, he could take down armored helicopters with one bullet, or determine the weaknesses of bulletproof metahumans to kill them with his guns. He was once in a shootout with Deathstroke that lasted 5 days, which is impressive because Deathstroke is a super soldier with enhanced stamina, but Deadshot was able to keep up with him through all of it. He has even been in hand-to-hand situations with Batman and Deathstroke. In terms of his actual accuracy, he makes precise shots that can cripple or shots that are non-fatal. He often does extremely long-range shots, trick shots, ricochet shots, and shots on moving targets all the time. He can easily find weaknesses in armor. He's killed an entire room of people whilst blindfolded, and even used his guns to decapitate a vampire. But how would he fare against 47? I believe that Deadshot actually has this in the bag. 47 is extremely skilled in combat, especially with guns, but Deadshot far surpasses him. That much is certain. But most of 47's kills are stealthy, you may be asking. Although 47 could still potentially use stealth to kill him, it is unlikely. Deadshot can quickly analyze his surroundings, has keen senses, and his scope would help him analyze 47. And one last piece of this stealth puzzle, he is able to catch Batman when he's using stealth, meaning 47 would most likely be found out. And speaking of Batman, Deadshot has fought far greater opponents than 47 ever has. Yes, 47 is superhuman and has fought other superhumans before, but nothing on the level that Deadshot has. As mentioned before, he has fought Deathstroke for 5 days. He's had many encounters with Batman, countless metahumans, cyborgs, androids, and many more. Not only this, but he has often gone hand to hand with these guys, and has done so fairly well, meaning he's more than likely a better hand-to-hand fighter than 47. With all this in mind, I'd say Deadshot belongs in the would-win tier, because a ton of these comic book assassins are just bonkers. Speaking of, Bullseye. Same as before, I could have used someone else here, like Black Widow or Winter Soldier, but I decided to use Bullseye for this one. Lester, or Poindexter, is without a doubt the greatest marksman in the Marvel Universe, and I'm not going to drag this out, he'd beat 47 for sure. I'd go as far as say he's the most difficult character for him to face on this list. Like 47, he could use just about any object as a weapon, but can throw them with far more range and lethality. Even when in prison, he's only given liquid food because he could use his own excrement as a projectile. He can throw a regular paper airplane from across multiple buildings and have it somehow shatter through glass. Use a ricocheting bullet to hit someone who is teleporting. Can deflect bullets to kill the one shooting him. Can open a safe with the precise toss of a pebble, stopping the explosion of a grenade by throwing a needle at it. Throwing a knife into Punisher's rifle. Assassinating a woman from across a building through glass using a toothpick. And many other feats. And when it comes to fighting superhumans, he fights them all the time. He fights the Punisher, has knocked out Daredevil using a paper airplane. He can hit Spider-Man with his projectiles, the same guy with the spider sense and superhuman reflexes to dodge lightning. And to top everything off, his bones are coated in adamantium. He could be in a room with every gun known to man, but if he's carrying a paperclip, that paperclip is the deadliest weapon in that room. Nothing 47 has can counter him. I could say that 47 has a shot at killing everyone else on the tier list, even if it's an incredibly small chance for some of these guys, but I don't see 47 getting a win over Bullseye at all. The moment 47 tries to use a gun, he's done for. Stealth may not work either, considering that he fights against some of the greatest stealth users in the Marvel Universe, and has extremely keen senses, and with his enhanced durability due to the adamantium, there are very few ways for 47 to do anything. Bullseye belongs to would win, without a doubt. Dexter Morgan. I like to start off by coming up with a scenario. I think that perhaps 47 is in Miami for a month or two. He has multiple targets. Dexter's trying to find the one responsible for their deaths, bringing his target to an end. 47 would most likely be aware of the legend of the Bay Harbor Butcher, but most likely wouldn't be aware, at least at first, that he goes after killers. So 47 would most likely not realize that Dexter is after him, but that's the thing. It would be difficult for Dexter to find him. But once he does, it will be even harder for Dexter to catch him. Dexter tries to get his victims by the element of surprise. 47 would not be someone he could use stealth against due to his instinct and heightened senses. Any attempt Dexter makes to try to capture 47 would fail. 47 would easily catch on to what's going on, and would most likely put Dexter to an end. It's not impossible for Dexter, since he is incredibly smart. But 47 should be multiple steps ahead of the curve. I have to put him in just another contract. Tony Soprano. The main character from the Sopranos TV show. Although he's a dangerous mob boss, being ruthless and violent. The thing is, mob bosses are 47's bread and butter. He has dealt with mobsters just as big and dangerous, if not more dangerous, than Tony. He's just an art contract for 47. Golgo 13. Duke Togo, aka Golgo 13, is a super dangerous assassin from the manga Golgo 13. Many consider him to actually be the greatest hitman in all of manga, and it's easy to see why. He is an excellent marksman, pulling off incredible feats of accuracy, and more than that, he has different skills such as hand-to-hand piloting and stealth. But I think it's best to quickly list off a few notable feats, skills, and special weapons. He uses a modified rifle, nerve gas, disguises, any firearm he gets his hands on. He can pilot planes. He can fight off multiple armed men. He was a few steps ahead of some members of the British intelligence, was able to tell someone had a gun on them, and is just overall a smart combatant with a keen eye. He is often seen quickly evading gunfire. He can knock out men whilst he was drugged. Is accurately able to shoot someone in their metal. Fought off dozens of assassins sent to kill him and escape their clutches. Had a plan that allowed him to break into a castle belonging to a Nazi war criminal and kill him. He can fire at multiple targets whilst driving a motorcycle. Has shot a moving jet from a moving jet. Has shot a man's earring off from hundreds of meters away. Has ricocheted bullets off of water to hit a cannon, causing it to explode. And has even pulled off a job where he sniped a man on a moving train whilst being hundreds of meters away in a moving car, where he only had a 2-second window to do it, although this required a ton of prep time and outside help. But he isn't without fault. He has a few problems. He has left behind evidence, has been quickly sniffed out as a professional, and has been captured all on multiple occasions. And not only this, but many people often realize that he is Golgo 13. He is overall not the best when it comes to stealth. In terms of physical strength, they are pretty even, although I'd give a slight edge in strength to 47. When it comes to accuracy and long range, I give it to 13. 47 is an incredibly skilled marksman, but 13 is on a completely different level. But when it comes to stealth, 47 gets it easily. Not only is he overall better in stealth, but he could easily catch 13 when he's trying to use stealth. Either one has the means to kill each other. It really depends on how the scenario starts. If 13 is in a sniper position, he'd most likely win. If it's a close range gunfight, it's pretty even, but Golgo has an edge. But if 13 can't find 47 in time, and it becomes a game of stealth, 47 would most likely win. This matchup has to be by the skin of his teeth. Ghostface. Ghostface is an interesting character, because Ghostface isn't one killer. Every movie has had different characters take up the mantle of Ghostface, as well as there being more than one killer. Now, in this scenario, we can assume Agent 47 has been sent to either protect someone or a group of people from Ghostface, or is sent specifically to kill Ghostface. Because, let's be honest, no Ghostface in the series would stand a chance, as all of them are usually just a little sloppy at least. Even the more intelligent and skilled Ghostface aren't really much of fighters themselves. But regardless, if he is sent to kill Ghostface, the only trouble he'd have is determining the identity or location of Ghostface. Most Ghostface killers are clever and utilize their surroundings well, and tend to prepare quite a bit, but that being said, they can't prepare for 47. They'd probably die before they realize he's there. This isn't clear cut. There are elements that will be a bit of a challenge for 47. Again, 47 would most likely have to use his forensic skills to find out who each Ghostface killer actually is. And since people often like to dress up as the Ghostface killer in-universe, it would only make the water more muddy. If he catches them in the act of murder, it's easy money. But outside of that, he will need to put his detective skills to the test once more. I'd say Ghostface belongs in minor difficulties. Judge Holden. Judge Holden from the Blood Meridian is one of the most deranged characters on this list. He commits all manner of atrocity for his own amusement, and is perceived as an unstoppable force. He often gets compared to the devil because of this. His arsenal isn't anything too crazy. He's a headhunter from the Wild West. but his charisma and influence are his greatest weapons. He's also extremely clever, has keen senses, and is quite strong. With all that in mind, he doesn't really have anything 47 hasn't dealt with before. He's dealt with more clever, more influential, stronger, deadlier, so on and so forth. It's funny because on most of these lists that I see that feature Judge Holden, he's often seen as one of the top dogs, almost always being placed at the top of these kinds of lists. Despite his bravado, he doesn't really have an answer to anything 47 has. He goes to just another contract. John Wick. John Wick needs no introduction. Instead, let's talk about what Mr. Wick brings to the table. Starting off, he is a master of all forms of firearm. He is a master martial artist. He can utilize firearms and martial arts simultaneously. He can use just about anything around him as a weapon. He has a completely bulletproof coat that allows him to move freely whilst also protecting him from gunfire. He can utilize blades such as swords, daggers, and throwing knives. He is one of, if not the most skilled assassin in his universe. A world filled to the brim with deadly assassins, including deadly mobsters, strong martial artists, pseudo-ninja types, mercenaries in bulletproof armor, and many, many more. But skill isn't the only thing he has. He has mad endurance, fighting hundreds of assassins for hours on end, or even days, being able to clear out entire buildings filled with mercenaries in quick succession. He's been shot many times, beaten, thrown off of buildings, and other high places. All of this, and he continues to get up and fight. He might actually have the greatest willpower and tenacity out of everyone on this list. With that being said, how would he fare against 47? This is tough. Wick and 47 have a lot in common as they both use their surroundings to their fullest advantage and fight. Both are relentless and have taken on nearly impossible feats, and both have unique arsenals. That being said, I believe 47 is overall physically superior. Wick does have quite a bit going on for him. He is just as adaptive as 47, he deals with hand-to-hand more than 47, his bulletproof coat helps him a ton, and he has overall insane endurance. But you must keep in mind, 47 is a genetically altered human who has taken on genetically altered super assassins that were made to be better than he is. To add to it, 47 can deal with very long-range weapons, meanwhile, Wick is more close quarters than anything. Wick doesn't really use sniper rifles, but 47 does. I'd say Wick belongs to a challenging target, simply because 47 would have to be extremely careful when dealing with him. Shooting him a few times isn't enough. Physical stats aren't enough. That's because Wick is known to completely turn things around on his opponents. Spy. The Team Fortress universe is a very crazy universe indeed, filled with characters with more bizarre feats and abilities, contrasting heavily against the more quote-unquote grounded world of Hitman. One of the mercenaries from the game is Spy. Spy has a rather wide arsenal of weapons and abilities. To start off, his main weapon of choice is a knife, as well as his revolver. His watch, which allows him to go invisible, his disguise kit, which allows him to disguise himself as just about anyone, with almost perfect accuracy. He has the Sapper, which can destroy various technologies, Dead Ringer, which creates a fake corpse, and allows him to go invisible, which is good for escaping death. He has more equipment and abilities, but most are irrelevant to this fight, due to the fact they are not designed specifically for one-on-one combat or against another spy. So, in this hypothetical, let's say both are sent to kill each other. They are located in a crowded city area, where they can best utilize their stealth. To start off, both would probably be unaware of each other for most of the fight, unless, of course, 47 sees the man in the red suit and mask walking around with a knife, but most likely, Spy would already be in disguise. Neither of them should be able to figure out each other that quickly, but if I were to give it to one of them, it'd most likely be 47. He'd most likely find a random civilian aimlessly in search of someone. 47 has encountered undercover mercenaries before, but not on the level of Spy. But once he deduces that he is indeed the Spy, he would probably get him in the right position to attack. But if Spy figures out 47 first, it would probably make it a lot easier for 47 to figure out his identity, as Spy would get closer to 47, which would cause 47 to become more suspicious. But Spy's greatest weapon in his arsenal is his Dead Ringer. since he could seriously catch 47 off guard. But it isn't infallible. 47 knows when his target is dead. He could be tricked at first, but he would figure it out pretty quickly, which means the spy would have to be quick. So, if his espionage doesn't work on 47, could he beat him in a straight up fight? The biggest thing going against Spy is his lack of feats. He is very skilled in combat, but isn't necessarily made for combat. And when it comes to most of his abilities, they are made for fighting against a team of mercenaries, not 1v1. He could get a lucky shot or a backstab, which would be fatal for 47, but 47 has more reliable ways to kill Spy. One last thing to add is that Spy's psychological tactics won't work on 47, since Spy could not have a photo of himself copulating with 47's mother, as he has no mother. Although, an image of him using a sapper on the cloning machine might do the job. This will be a very difficult battle of wits and espionage for both of them, but I gotta hand it to 47. I'd say Spy is a challenging target. Light Yagami, the holder of the Death Note, a book that kills people whose names are written in it. Light is an incredibly smart and an incredibly manipulative strategist, and with the Death Note, he is almost untraceable. There's a set of rules for how the Death Note works. Most importantly, you need the full name of the target. Finally, he does have quite a bit of connections that could give him information that he needs. Light Yagami is usually one of the most dangerous people on these lists, borderline undefeatable for most opponents, but in this scenario, 47 may be the perfect counter for Light. First of all, Light shouldn't be aware of 47 or the ICA, and even if he was via the connections he has, he couldn't do anything to 47. He'd need a name, and Tobias Reaper is just an alias, one that Light most likely wouldn't be aware of. And since 47 tends to use disguises and often impersonates people, Light may end up being tricked and putting names that belong to different people that 47 has knocked out. The closest thing he has to a name is Agent 47, and that may not work either, or Light may not even try it. The most likely scenario is Light being unaware of 47, and as 47 figures out the identity of Light, he goes to track him. The moment he begins to do it, it is a guaranteed death for Yagami. As crazy as it is to say, Light belongs to minor difficulties. Madeline Stillwell. Now for a different kind of target. As we all know, Agent 47's main form of target usually isn't just other assassins, but instead people with a ton of wealth, influence, and power. So I decided to put Madeline Stillwell from the first season of The Boys on here, because in reality, it doesn't matter what she can do, what matters is what she has at her disposal. That being what is essentially a small army of superpowered beings. 47 deals with people like Stillwell on a daily basis, but with these soups under her thumb at all times, this is far more difficult than most other CEOs he would take out. She has the 7 at her disposal, and although some of them wouldn't be much of a problem for 47, such as the Deep, others, such as Translucent, Black Noir, and Homelander, are 47's greatest obstacles. Queen Maeve most likely wouldn't be a problem as she tends to be very standoffish, and Starlight, being very new to this, would still be processing everything. So when it comes to 3 mentioned, let's start by talking about Translucent. Translucent can go invisible and is bulletproof. He was able to catch Huey placing a bug in Vought HQ, although it was by chance. But that's a big problem. Translucent can be anywhere at any time. If he catches on to 47, it might be a big problem. That being said, 47 should overall be physically stronger. Yes, he can't shoot him, but Translucent was struggling against Butcher, who didn't even have access to temp V during this season. And considering that 47 can knock out people with simple snowballs, it's entirely possible for 47 to knock him out with something else, maybe even snap his neck. But that is if he's able to actually be in the position to knock him out. 47's best bet is to keep track of him using his instinct. Next up is Black Noir. Although he isn't as stealthy as Translucent, Noir is an extremely strong, resilient, and skilled fighter. Noir once survived an explosion that destroyed a small building, and was seemingly unfazed. In a fight, 47 couldn't possibly win. Luckily for 47, he should be easier to keep on his radar. 47 would just need to avoid Noir, which is entirely possible. Finally, the strongest character in the series, Homelander. Keep in mind, this is Season 1 Homelander. Now there's no way on Earth 47 could beat him, and since he has super hearing, he'd be able to know if 47 has killed her in a specific manner. especially since Homelander tends to stick around Stillwell, meaning 47 only has a few methods of succeeding. First of all, Season 1 Homelander, although he does kill quite a bit, isn't at the point as he is in later seasons, where he will kill whatever employee he wants on the spot, so a disguise could still work. 47's best chances are either preparing for this job and setting something up, such as a car bomb, to drag Homelander away from Vought Tower for long enough to give 47 the chance to kill her, or for 47 to poison her, which would not only make it hard to find the culprit, but in-game is usually seen as silent assassin, meaning no one would be aware of there being an assassin. Last thing he needs to do is clear any evidence, such as camera recordings, and he should be fine. But at the end of the day, these are his only two chances of eliminating her, and it requires a lot to pull off. I have to say, she definitely belongs to Skin of His Teeth. Michael Myers. The Shape, the Boogeyman, and one of the most notorious slashers put to film. Michael Myers from the Halloween franchise is a relentless and silent killer who shows no emotion. His history is quite dubious, as his series is split into different timelines, so I will be using a mix of feats from each iteration. Michael Myers uses all kinds of weapons, and similar to 47, he will use his surroundings to his advantage, but his most common weapon of choice is a knife. Along with this, his main method of murder is the element of surprise, although he has been shown to outright attack people without the element of surprise. For starters, he can move a massive gravestone that weighs around a ton. He survived getting shot on multiple occasions, including being riddled with bullets, as well as surviving being lit on fire. He also survived getting jumped by a large group of people and was able to fight back and kill them. He can kill people with ease, overpowering them easily, but his most impressive feat of durability is surviving a church explosion, and one of his craziest overall feats is moving across a yard filled with motion sensors, only setting them off once he attacked his victim. This implies he may be able to teleport. So if these two killers came in contact with each other, who would win? This is a hard one because 47 has better equipment, better stealth, and can counter most of Michael's stealth tactics. Their strength should be about the same, but Michael's greatest advantage is his superior durability, as well as his teleportation-like ability. He could easily catch 47 off guard and attack him. Although their strength is pretty even, 47 is an overall more skilled fighter. But his biggest obstacle is putting him down. A few shots from his silver ballers may put him down for a bit, but probably wouldn't kill him. 47's best chances of winning are either sniping him from a distance, or unleashing his arsenal on him. And although Michael often catches people off guard when he's seemingly down for the count, 47 would be able to tell that he's still alive and wouldn't hesitate to shoot him whilst he's down. But again, Michael could seriously catch him off guard by teleporting, which could easily be a game changer, granting Myers an easy kill. I say he belongs to Skin of His Teeth. Muteba Gaizenga. Muteba Gaizenga, a mercenary from the Kengan universe, is considered to be one of the most dangerous assassins alive. He was given the epithet, the Genocider, because of this. He is often seen surrounded by women or being well dressed. He values his reputation to the point of giving his clients a free job if he doesn't succeed. In the Kengan universe, most characters are martial artists, so Muteba has a lot of experience in hand-to-hand combat. He uses special assassination techniques. A lot of these techniques involve his fingers, as he uses them to gouge the eyes of his opponents, or even directly attack the heart with a technique simply known as the heart jab. But the most unique thing about him is the fact that he's blind, or at least was blind. He has incredibly heightened senses, from greater hearing to a strong sense of smell, but later was given a set of mechanical eyes by his boss, Togo Tamari. These eyes allow him to see 5 different spectrums, 2 of which are infrared and vibration. Along with this, he has been seen with a knife and a pistol. But in terms of actual feats, he has quite a bit. He jumped from a helicopter into the ocean without a parachute or any equipment, boarded a ship overtaken by armed pirates, and murdered all of them with his hands. He fought in war zones using only his hands and knives. He's fought members of the Curie clan, a clan of assassins who use selective breeding to become superhuman, and has fought in many one-on-one fights, going against many fighters, such as Wakatsuki, who has a condition known as Superman Syndrome, which makes his muscles 52 times denser than the average human. He's had his eardrums burst and still defeated his opponent because of the sense of smell. His hearing is so good he can watch fights on a TV and know exactly what's going on, and even tune into different members of the audience of the Annihilation Tournament, which contains over 100,000 people. He can figure out the number of his enemies and their equipment and health status, all based on smell from hundreds of meters away. He was also able to detect something going on inside a building he was hired to protect. Keep in mind, he was outside of the building, whilst they had over 100 mercenaries, and the person sneaking in wasn't noticed by anyone else except another person with enhanced senses. With all this said and done, could Muteba defeat 47? Considering his enhanced senses and how impressive they are, he would easily counter 47's stealth tactics. And since he is a physically superior fighter with a higher level of skill, he would win in hand-to-hand. 47's best chance is in a gunfight. We never see Muteba use his gun. Although he can fight multiple armed opponents, 47 has done the same. I'd even say 47 might be a bit faster overall. And one last thing to add is that in Muteba's fight with Wakatsuki Takeshi, he actually forfeited the fight. He almost killed Wakatsuki, but could have died himself. To him, a mercenary's #1 goal is to survive, meanwhile a fighter's #1 goal is to win, even if it means death. So Muteba could potentially give up, but it is a bit unlikely. I'd have to say this is pretty close. Muteba counters many of 47's options and could easily kill 47 in the right circumstances, but 47 could still pull out a win via his guns, and an edge in speed. So I'd say he goes to skin of his teeth. Killer Bean. Now, a bit more of an out there character, we've got Killer Bean. Killer Bean was an assassin, part of the Shadow Bean organization, but ended up being betrayed by them. Known for using his 2 gold dragon pistols, as well as hand-to-hand combat, he was able to defeat many mercenaries and gangsters in Beantown. He may not look like much, but he has quite a bit of feats under his belt. He has casually dodged bullets fired from behind him when caught off guard. Bullets appear to move in slow-mo for him. He can move within the blink of an eye, can dodge sniper rifle fire, including shots that go through walls, can fire shots with his pistols from a building's length, shooting through the scope of a rifle, is extremely acrobatic, extremely nimble, and has taken on Special Ops elite mercenaries. He can fight Jet Bean in hand-to-hand combat, the same Jet Bean who can deflect bullets with his bracelets. Although he overall lost to Jet Bean in hand-to-hand, he put up a great fight and ultimately defeated him. Jet Bean can beat many armed policemen whilst not even using any weapons himself, kick a car door off its hinges, break handcuffs he was placed in, bend cell bars with his kicks, and rip the cell doors off its jail cell. But Killer Bean was able to defeat him by throwing a bullet in the air and shooting it with another bullet, causing it to hit Jet Bean. To me, this is pretty much a shoo-in. In combat, Killer Bean has this on lock. Hand-to-hand or using firearms, Killer Bean is a far more dangerous fighter. He isn't infallible though. He does get beaten up by Jet Bean, and was put in some pretty bad positions. He might be susceptible to fall into a trap laid out by 47, but he may easily discern that he is in trouble and avoid death, or even avoid getting killed by a trap since he has lightning fast reflexes. Killer Bean goes to would win. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you disagree, discuss it in the comments. I like to see if there's anything I missed out on. I actually have a list of characters that I cut from this initial video, but I would like to cover them as well. If you have anyone in mind that you think I should add to the list, send suggestions. With that being said, in the words of the great LA Beast, have a good day!